But my experience, my personalized experience with stem cells before even receiving them myself was through my daughter. Okay, now let me explain. My daughter was diagnosed with arthritis at around 1 year of age, and it's called JIA, juvenile idiopathic arthritis, meaning idiopathic, meaning they don't know where it came from, right? However, hindsight's 2020. Now we understand where it came from. Unfortunately, I can't talk about that on this platform. YouTube is very strict about their medical guidelines, and I want to follow the rules so I can stay on this platform and keep doing what I do, right? So we'll just leave it at that. But she gets diagnosed with JIA, juvenile idiopathic arthritis. It is a long process, long story of different things we went through. But essentially, when she was a baby, we started noticing that we couldn't hold her. She just kept crying. And what we didn't realize was all of her limbs and joints were swollen. When we took her to the ER, they're like, we don't know what's going on. They're running her through, I think, MRI machines, getting CAT scans, all this stuff to eventually find out she has arthritis. And she had arthritis in her hands, in her elbows, I believe her hips, her feet, and her knees. And so long story short, once we figured that out, we did contact some specialists. We got her on a very specific diet, and that actually helped. Her arthritis, when we put her on this diet, her arthritis went into remission for 1 year and a half, a year and a half. So that was wonderful. We thought it was gone. We thought everything was all good. Then 2020 hit, and my daughter got COVID, and her arthritis came back, and it was exacerbated. We don't know what the effect of that is. These are immune issue things, but we could not get rid of it with diet at that point. We saw one more specialist, tightened up the diet even further. However, her knees were still swollen. Now, if you don't understand the urgency we had felt as parents, not only is she going through pain, but as she's growing, if the arthritis is attacking her joints and ligaments as she grows, there could be deformities there. So there was an urgency to get this, handled. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is conventionally they wanted to put her on a drug called methotrexate. That's something they use for kids cancer patients and for other things. I felt like that was too hardcore of a drug for my 1 year-old. That's why we chose diet, Long story short, my wife was in some type of Facebook group, and this elderly man said he got stem cells for arthritis in Panama, and he saw he saw great changes and then recovery. I'm trying to think of how to word this, because there's certain things that you can say, like you can imply things on YouTube, but can't say, yo, this is the definitive when it comes to certain medical practices. And I don't know exactly where they stand with this type of subject matter. But long story short, his whole health improved after he received stem cells, and his arthritis seemed to dissipate afterwards. So my wife tells me, and I'm like, oh, stem cells, Joe Rogan. And it leads to this podcast with Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson. And long story short, we decided to take my daughter to Panama, the Stem Cell Institute, to get stem cells. And we got her stem cells in the year 2022. Hey, boo-boo, how'd you do today on your last day of treatment?
Good.
Good. Let me see. Did you get your arm? Did they poke you in your arm for your treatment?
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling?
Good.
Good. All right. Well, high five. Good job. You were brave. Yay. And I kid you not, 3 months later, her arthritis dissipated. And we haven't seen it since. It is 2025 now. There are moments where one of her knees, I believe it's her left knee, gets a little swollen because of all the information we have. We tighten up the diet. It's just good. So, yeah, that was my first experience with stem cells.
But it's kind of crazy. You have to go to Tijuana because you can't do it in America.
I think it's the way they not incubate, but like cultivate the stem cells, that they don't let you do it here, but they let you do it there.
So it had a big effect on you?
Man, night and day.
Really?
But let's get into the stem cells that I received. All right. This is from the CPI. We do not outsource our cell manufacturing. Our stem cells are isolated from umbilical cords, which is a rich source of many different cell types, including a stem cell population that the CPI has isolated. We manufacture the cells in a controlled environment that is optimized for generating a final product with high anti-inflammatory properties. During the manufacturing process, we supercharge the stem cells by training them to survive harsh environments, often found in diseased or damaged tissues. CPI doesn't use just any type of stem cells. We have highly specialized stem cells that have increased therapeutic properties over other stem cells. The cells are hypoxic stem cells, meaning they need much less oxygen to live, making them the best cell type for low oxygen parts of the body, such as joints and discs. These cells have shown to live much longer in patients' bodies and show continued tissue growth even up to a year later. I've heard some personal testimonies that actually up to even 15 months, so it's pretty wild. Using our in-house manufacturing facility, we are able to generate billions of cells that are highly therapeutic and targeted to areas suffering from an acute or chronic inflammatory condition. Boom, boom, boom. I read that part already. I read this part already. Our cells originally come from live full-term births. The umbilical cord is donated and tested. We do not use umbilical cords from vaccinated mothers. So that part is pretty important because, people are always wondering, hey, where do they get the stem cells from? What organs, are these underground black market? Is it, because there is some shady things going on in the world today with stem cells, organs, etc. That's not happening here. Our cells originally come from live full-term births. The umbilical cord is donated and tested. We do not use umbilical cords from the V-word mothers because YouTube's weird about that word. So, with that being said,
safety car carrier seat for the
All right, so today was your last day of treatment. Did they just